All right. This is Plae. I'm sitting here with Javon Journey. Welcome to the Plae series.
I'm happy to be here, man. Happy to be here.
How you feeling?
Feel good, man. I feel like I'm in a good space.
Like, in a good space. I like how that sounds. Like, describe the space that you're in.
Mm, I feel like I'm in this revolutionary, um, like a revolutionary, but also like a economic, businessy, um, creative space that I'm kind of tapping into. Think of like, think of like, I feel like I've been going back in history, just looking at different leaders, right?
Mm-hmm.
That have led groups of people. And I'm studying like some of the things that they did. And I think that's why I say like revolutionary in a sense, as if it's like some revolution. And then, economically and businessy, I say that because, sometimes when leading a group of people, like it's nice to be, like, have some stability in a sense of like economically, and creative because I'm trying to tap back into like my creativity as much as I can. And so yeah, I feel like I'm in a good space. Hopefully this pot of influences kind of make something beautiful.
I feel like that was like when Nardwar asked Jay-Z, "Who are you?" and Jay-Z just like went in, and then he was like, "Yeah, but like, so like you're Jay-Z, right?" And he's like, "Oh yeah. I thought you was asking something deeper." I mean, so I liked a lot of what you were saying. You must have watched the show before, so this is the deep dive. We trying to understand you, I guess more holistically as a person, or I guess as a character. The first question is, who are you? So how would you introduce yourself to a new person?
Yeah, man. So my name is Javon. Um, Sometimes Jones, sometimes Journey. It's not too much of a difference between both of them. What I would say is that Journey is more so like the creative side. Jones is more so like the human side, like who I am as a human.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
because I guess I made that distinction because when you create and when you make art, people sometimes are just looking at the art and not necessarily you as a human.
mm.
But that's sometimes thing. But if I say that like, yo, this album sucks, I don't mean that as in like the person sucks.
Right. It's just the
Like just the
content.
albums. Like, I
Right.
might still like the person. I might love the person, but the music or this project that they made, I just was not rocking with. I didn't like that.
Right.
So I think that's why I make that distinction as well.
But you know, it's so funny. Music can't, at least for me, music can be so bad that you dislike a person. You're like, you know what? I ain't rocking with you cause this is so trash. I'm not rocking with you no more. You ever feel that?
I feel you on that. I think I definitely resonate and I feel you on that. I think more so what I want to promote and like kind of what I'm about is like love. So shout out to like, you know what I mean? It's peace. You know what I'm saying? Love and peace.
Facts.
But I mean, yeah, I've had that experience before, but I never really want to put it on to the person where it's like, man, this is a bad person because the music was bad.
Mm,
You know?
mm.
Sometimes good people make bad stuff. And I don't ever want to be in a position where I do that. So hopefully I can have the right people around me where they say like, yo, bro, this is not it. And I can feel that. You know what I'm saying? I can say that's not it. But there's a difference too, because sometimes everybody else might not be liking it, but like at the core of who you are and in your soul, you're like, this is it. Like forget about everything they saying. I like this. And a lot of times that's when you are able to like change the landscape of in regards to what we're speaking about music. You can literally change the landscape of music when you lean into like what you believe in and what you think is nice and good and fine. So it's a balance of having that good criticism, but also standing on, what you create and what you believe in. It's a tough balance.
Right. I mean, so like you said, tough balance. A lot of people, they get on the journey and then they sort of dip off kind of early. But I guess speaking to the journey, no pun intended. For someone who's looking on and they're like, oh shit, like being an artist looks like it's dope. It looks amazing. Can you sort of detail what like how you even started? Like, when did you start identifying as an artist?
Man, I started identifying as an artist. I mean, to an extent, as early as I can remember. But I think when I put a name to it was middle school. I put a name to it in middle school because, man, I love the middle school I went to. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in DeKalb County. I say it a couple times.
Shout out.
So I grew up in DeKalb County, and my middle school had so many different types of people.
Wait,
right?
what?
We had
what middle school did you go to?
I went to, you know what I'm saying, Stevenson Road, Stevenson Middle School. Got it. Stevenson, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Stevenson. So, Stevenson had so many different types of people, right? It had the hood kids, it had the art kids, it had the sports kids, it had the, everything, right? It had everything. And I always, dabbled in each group. I never had a specific set group. I just was kind of dabbling in all of them. We even had a dance group. So at the point in time when the new boys dropped, I was joking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That was the start of middle school.
Exactly, bro. So I mean, it was a mix of everything that I was.
Wait, you realized you was an artist back then?
Yeah, bro. It was so many different types of people, and I was dabbling in so many different groups. And I was gonna say one of the groups that I was dabbling in was this battle rap group. So I mean, I would be battle rapping at the lunch table, and everybody, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying different lines as I'm battling. You know what I'm saying? There was a point in time where, I finished my food. We get trays for lunch. Everybody get a tray, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm battling a guy, and you know what I'm saying, I finish all my food, but now I'm really just battling. And they say one man's trash is another man's treasure, and I hand them my lunch tray. You know what I'm saying? So it's different things like that where everybody was going crazy, and I just felt like that's kind of when I was able to start identifying as an artist, as well as there was the Black Boy, White Boy, American Eagle, El Paso, Hollister, Abercrombie wave that was happening.
Right.
And when that wave was over, I just started making my own clothes. I'm like, this is not fire no more compared to depending in regards to what society says is fire, right?
Uh-huh.
In regards to what society says is fire, they're like, yo, we not on that no more. That's whack. And so at that point, I'm like, bro, I was so much into brands, and I had to make that transition into I don't care about brands no more, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had to. Didn't say poor connection. Can you still hear me?
Yeah. It lagged for a bit, but I think that was my side.
Got you. I had to make that transition to I don't care about brands anymore. It was more so let me make my own clothes. When I was making my own clothes, I began to identify again as an artist, as a creative. So definitely middle school was when it hit me yo, you were creative.
So you were battle rapping at the lunch table. And I was gonna ask, what about that made you feel like an artist? But then you said you started getting into making clothes, and then that's when you started feeling like a creative, like an artist. Did you not start feeling like an artist until you started working on the clothes, or did you identify as an artist rapping at the lunch table?
Yeah, at the lunch table rapping, I definitely identified as an artist.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because I mean, and people probably didn't know. I'll be completely transparent. Bro, I was the night before I would go to school. You know what I'm saying? I'd take a shower the night before I go to school, and I'm thinking of lines I can say at the lunch table tomorrow.
Yeah.
Bro, I was going to school to battle. I mean, of course, the school work came
Yeah,
with it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. You was like, yeah, fourth block, fifth block. But anyways,
the night before in the shower, because it just was a peaceful place to essentially white, but I wouldn't even consider it white. And I just would be thinking about different aspects and different ways that I could like say different things that would get the people, you know what I mean, excited and going.
Mm.
So I was a creative at that point in my mind and in my head.
Yeah, that's fire. Um, all right. So what I was gonna say was that if someone's looking at the journey, it's like being an artist is dope, and they're looking to you. Your journey starts in middle school, sort of being an artist, battle rapping at a lunch table, making clothes. Well, what would you say the next like highlight point would be for you, or like your next, yeah, your next like midpoint?
Do you mean like in my journey or like where I see things going now?
In your journey, the journey you've, I guess, that you're on.
Yeah, I mean, I, I don't know if I'm a little confused by the question, but I'll try to answer. So like, I go from battle rapping at the lunch table to making clothes in middle school and high school. High school I kind of stopped because I went to uniform school, but to also playing sports during this whole time I was playing sports, and track and field became my biggest focus. I went to the Junior Olympics. At a point in time, I was the fastest kid I say in the world, definitely in the country. No hands, like it's not a debate. But I say in the world too. So I tore my hip flexor. Went to college on a track scholarship. Transferred, found my way back to Atlanta. Atlanta like we inspired so many different things. Just being in the city, sometimes it'll just be like, you know what I mean? I remember being on like the 14th floor. There was a point in time I stayed on like the 14th floor, and I just went over and me feel like anything is possible, and it will unlock so many different things in my creative brain. Um, and so, man, I got into. I'm a multi potential. Like that's kind of what I call it. I seen it from a TED talk, but I'm interested in a lot of different things, whether that's health, whether that's tech, whether that's business, whether that's like anything, right? Any and everything. I love to learn, so I'm always learning. But from there, transferring back to Atlanta, I dropped a project called Enjoy the Journey. Um, it was a great project for me. I go back and listen, and I'm like, man, this is still timeless. There's times where I feel like, bro, I wish I would have held on to a little bit longer so I could improve different things. But I think some of the flaws within it is the beauty, and it really captures the moment and time and space that I was in. Then I kind of go on and do some business ventures. Like I dabble and I get back into fashion, and then I get back into investing in tech. So I'm a little bit of everything, right? And I want to be able to impact and influence so many different sectors or areas of life.
Mm.
So I mean that's kind of where I'm at now, and hopefully we just dropped Eastside Equity, but hopefully I continue to make more good music, right? And can inspire more people.
That's fire. So yeah, I mean, you basically answered that question and then just went through the rest of the journey. But but yeah, I hope that someone can sort of hear that and get a lot of insight into what your time has been like. So
Yeah.
on the video so far, you've sort of been main stage, but now I'm gonna switch over and start editing the release post uh for Eastside Equity. So I guess we could start talking about how the song even came about.
Yeah, I mean, so I mean, honestly, ever since high school, um, you've been a guy producing since high school, right? And there was a point in time where I was producing, not producing, mostly focused on like being a vocal artist, coming back to producing, not producing again. And I kind of got into like this flow state of where I was producing again. Unfortunately, my computer got hacked. I lost a lot of different things, but it is what it is. And now I think during that time, I pulled up on you so I could kind of work on getting my laptop fixed, and we decided to like, yo, let's record a song. You played me a couple beats, and this one definitely spoke to me. So I hopped on the mic, and like what came out is what came out. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, man, that's kind of like the background behind the song.
How did you choose the content? Because that is such an interesting that's such an interesting hook. That's such an interesting verse. Like, what about that day, or I guess about your life at that point, made you want?
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is like initially too, I think I opened up, just kind of speaking about. I mean, I used to, bro. There was an era where we all used to like stand out. I wasn't necessarily standing outside for Jordans, but like kind of like, yeah, bro. Like before the apps happened, was like you kind of get shoes, sneakers from the apps. Like, bro, you literally stand outside of the line to get your Jordans, or meeting up, trading, buying, selling, right? So I kind of start off just kind of reminiscing on that experience, and then I kind of go into like
I'm
my
overseas. I'm
want,
in Belize. Yeah.
my need and my want to travel this world. Like this world is so big, and so many places I continue like to want to go to, right? So I kind of touched a little bit about that, and then I mean I want board positions and I want equity, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the black culture has influenced so much, and sometimes for me it's unfortunate because we don't necessarily have equity in some of the things that is literally culture and is driving the world. So whether that's the big music labels, like we need more equity in that.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's your own music that you like, you need equity. You should own your like, you know what I mean. You want to own your master, so it's just like I want equity. And then I think I was really coming from like this tech background of being a tech investor, where I'm like, yo, we got to get some board positions, because the board positions allow you to actually keep the value of the country, of the company that you started, right? And I think if more hip hop artists in Philly had board positions on what is accepted in hip hop, I think it would be geared a little bit better, right?
Wait, what do
We
you?
wouldn't see some 6ix9ines come out and kind of aim for a little bit, right? I think if we had some OG hip hop guys kind of having somewhat board position on different things, I think it might be a little bit better for the culture. Of course, we always have gatekeepers, and sometimes you really got to kick down the gate. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you really got to kick down the gate, and kind of do things your own way. And that's what I do love about our era as well. Is just like so much freedom to create whatever. But I think at the core of hip hop, there's some traditions a little bit, and it's just nice to maintain some of those traditions, not all of them, and I think that's kind of why I was saying like board positions, equity. Like even on companies, I want board positions and equity. So that's a little bit about the verse and the hook and things like
that. So that's what that all means. But I guess what inspired you to do that on that song? Is that just the mode you were already in? Yeah. Well, but speak to that. Yeah.
Like everything like is inspired from my life. I started a venture capital firm not too long ago. Well, it's just like, all right, like let's hop in the game. I see Nas, I see Jay-Z, they got VC firms. I'm like, man, let me do my thing, right? So I think some of my experiences in venture capital led to some of those lyrics. I think one of the lines I really like myself is just I kind of touch on what it was like working. I kind of just mentioned, I used to work in a barbershop, bro. Like I used to sweep hair in a barbershop. But it's so far you could go. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, life inspires the lyrics for sure.
Yeah, that's super dope. Also, you dropped that so casually. Like, yeah, I started my own venture capital firm, but I think that's I think that's really impressive, and I think that a lot of other people that listen to that might be impressed by it. Can you sort of speak to what that's even like? What is that? Like, what are your what's your perspective?
Um, yeah, I'll briefly touch on it. Like, man, it's just finding stuff that you think is fine and being an investor and supportive. Um, you know, I think even in music, bro, if you think about music, like there's times where it's like you'll hear fans or supporters be like, yo, I was the first person that was on this. Nobody else was listening to this before me. But imagine if you invested in that song, artist, whatever, etc., right? And think about them 2 years later, they win a Grammy. It's like, imagine having equity and like being that early believer. So that's kind of how I see venture capital, but more so from like a company side. So I'm looking at companies and I'm betting on them early on. So just being able to see talent, being able to see like just promising ideas, and as well as people before they actually pop. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.